Awesome. So thank you everybody for showing up. Going to do a quick little introduction here. So this is the Multifamily Passive Investor Group virtual meetup hosted by James Kamasami and myself. The format is that it's the third Thursday, starts at 7:30 p.m. We do use the chat to tell something about us, 20 to 35 minutes of presentation and Q&A, 20 minutes of networking. And this month is actually going to be our last meetup of this group. So stay tuned for updates for future meetups. And this very long disclaimer that you have to read very quickly that says that we're not offering anything or selling you anything and consult professionals for any advice. So I'm very glad to get excited to be able to talk to my friend Jasmine. I met Jasmine probably about a year or so ago and connected and just fell in love with her story, fell in love with everything. And I wanted to invite her to come here. And basically, what we're going to do is she's going to share her story. And then I'm going to ask her some questions. And then we're going to let you ask some questions and get to know her better. And then, depending on how big the group is, we may just do everybody in a breakout, or we'll do at least a couple of breakout rooms. So I'm going to switch over to speaker gallery, and it's all yours, Jasmine. Just start telling us your story. It's a great story.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Trevor, for inviting me, and thank you everyone for being here. There's a lot of new faces, so I'm excited to be here. I'm very grateful that you guys opened this for me. So yeah, a little bit about my story. I was born and raised in Mexico and had a good life. I was going to university. My dad has been an entrepreneur. So I always wanted to follow that path of being an entrepreneur, have my own business. I pretty much couldn't see myself doing anything else. So that's what I was doing. That was what I was pursuing. But unfortunately, things in Mexico are not very safe. My dad was kidnapped in Mexico, so my pink bubble where I was living and my whole family was living kind of pumped. And we decided, I mean, after that, life could never be the same again. So my dad, thank God, after 1 month and a half, my dad came back and he said like, okay, well, I mean, at that point, nothing was the same. So he's like, okay, we need to do something. Let's go to United States. And it was a shocking move for me. It was, I had to start from scratch, move here. And one of the questions that I want to ask you is, are you investing in things that nobody can take away from you? And I'm gonna go, pretty much this talk is gonna be based on that question, but I also want you to think about that. Are you investing in things that nobody can take away from you? Because I came to this country and pretty much I didn't have anything but my family and a bunch of dreams, big goals, but nothing else. I came here, didn't speak the language, didn't have connections, didn't have money, didn't have a business. Pretty much we left all the business that we had. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? So I tried to go to university. I was going to university, one of the top universities in Mexico. But when you come here, none of that counts. You got to start from scratch. I didn't speak the language, so I couldn't really go. I was applying to A&M and I was applying to Baylor. If you're in Texas, you know those universities. And they told me like, you pretty much need to learn English first before you can apply. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I try to get a job, but the immigration process, it's very difficult in this country. So you can just come here and get a social security. You got to go through a whole process. I couldn't really go to college. I went to college, apply, but they told me like, oh no, you need to have a student visa and blah blah blah. I'm like, wait a minute. So hold on, that means I can do anything? Does that mean I need to be crying all day in my room? And I remember so much that my dad told me, I'm sorry that you're going through this, but there is millions of people who come to this country and figured it out. So you gotta find a way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I put you through this, but you're not the only one. So I was like, you're right. I need to find a way. Fast forward, I got my degree in business management with entrepreneurship. As I mentioned, I always wanted to get my own business, and I started like building myself. Got my first job. I remember my first job was the fast food restaurant, and I hated it, but I loved it. I was the best one at whatever I was doing. I understood that that wasn't where I belong. However, that was the only thing that I could do at the moment. So I was like, I'm just gonna do the best that I can, and you just don't focus on all those things that sometimes when things don't go the way that we want, it's just so easy to play the victim role, in life. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna think about that. I'm just gonna do the best that I can do. I was the best cashier at the fast food restaurant, and I understood that this is not where I belong. I have huge dreams. I have skills. I need to do something. So long story short, I start building myself, getting into different business, getting to sales, because that was like the first job that it was gonna pay me for my effort and not for my degree or for my income, for my connections, but the hustle that I put into that job, it was gonna pay me. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And that's how I started building my career. Just in sales, commission based 100%. So I was making the money that I wanted. I was paying my own salary. Nobody will tell me, oh, you're working overtime, or we're gonna fire you because we don't need more sales. So I was in control, and that was the closest thing that I could do. One of the things that I like to tell people is like, there's so many things in our lives that we can control, but we need to focus on the things that we can control. So at that moment, that was the only thing that I could control. And I started, just practicing and learning my skills, sales. I'm like, who doesn't need sales on their businesses? So I start building that, and got introduced to Grant Cardone and the sales programs that he has. So one of the things that I did was investing in myself, in my skills. And this is one of the things that at the beginning, for those who just joined, are you guys investing in things that nobody can take away from you? So that has been paying good money for me, just investing in my sales skills, in talking to people, in putting myself in these rooms. I didn't have the degrees, I didn't have the network, I didn't have all those things. However, I was in the room because I was able to pay to be in those seats and connect with the right people. So I was like, I just knew one thing. I need to connect with the people who are moving and shaking. And I found that at Grant Cardone Network. I was like, okay, this is what I need to be. I need to be more like them. I need to understand how they think. So I started just got myself into this mentorship program. If you guys are part of Grant Cardone, there's like 10,000 mentorships that you can get in. So pretty much what I did was sales, marketing, negotiation, scaling businesses. So something that it was already on my background, and at the same time I was running my own business. I still running. I buy a resale land. That's my way to grow my capital, and I wanted to scale that business. But also I was like, okay, what's next for me? Should I get into fix and flip? Should I get into Airbnb and all those things that we can do in real estate? So I attended a real estate summit, and everything made sense for me. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. MultiFamily makes sense. Scaling, the taxes benefits. I was paying taxes on all the capital gains for my land businesses, for my land transactions. and just using the multifamily as a vehicle to create wealth. Everything made sense to me, so I understood the second thing. This is next for me. I need to get in multifamily. And the same thing, I just like, okay, I'm gonna connect with somebody who is doing that already. I don't need to invent a wheel. And when I went to the summit, everybody was doing deals, everybody was talking to brokers, everybody had the best deal. And I'm like, well, my skill set is not an underwriting and all that. What can I do? I was like, okay, I'm just gonna connect with people. And I connected with Mike Valley. I connected with other people who were very successful, and I was looking for somebody who was in Houston. Connected with a couple guys, but definitely when I met Mike Bailey, I was like, okay, he wasn't the guy who is today. He didn't have his thousands of dollars that he had today, and he didn't know anything about me. He was just like a leap of faith. He believed in me, and I believe in him. Kind of like, some of you guys know Mike, but he has a good energy. You can trust him. And I felt like he was very interested on help me build myself and grow. He wasn't just looking for himself. So there's so many values that I saw in him that I was like, okay, I'm just gonna just if he's giving me a chance, I'm just gonna go for it. And one of the things that I wanna share with you is like we all have different skill sets, and we just need to knock the door and tell people what we are good at. Nobody's gonna come and tell you, hey, I need a person who does underwriting, I need this and that. You need to tell people what your skill set is and how can you add value. I went to Mike and I'm like, listen, I want to get in multifamily. My background is on sales. I'm looking for an investor relations. I think that's what fits the best with me and my skill set. Do you think I can help you, or do you think like there's an opportunity for me? And he say like, of course, yeah. This guy was overwhelmed and he had like so many deals with some other 10xers, and it was just like me knocking doors, finding the right person. And once I found the right person, I was like, this is what I can do for you. Do you think we can work together? And so many people come to us now to Massive, and I'm pretty sure most of you, and people is like, hey, I want to be part of your team. How can I add value to you? And I'm like, well, let's flip the coin. How can you add value to me? What's your skill set? I don't know you. So it's very important now looking back. It was very important for me to invest in myself, in my skill set, because when I had the opportunity to meet with a few people who were like moving and shaking in multifamily, I was able to communicate with them very clear. This is what I want. Do you think I can help you? This is my skill set. Is that something that aligns to you? And that's how I got myself in with Mike, connected with Mike. And after that, it's just like now looking back, it's just putting myself always in these situations, in these events, attending to all these events. Of course, it's not easy. You need to be able to attend to all these events by yourself and just putting yourself in front of people. But this is also what opens the doors to so many opportunities. Like I had met people in events or just in these Zooms where you never know what's gonna happen, and in 3 months, 6 months, like we end up partnering up, and that's crazy. And that's how we met Trevor. I met him like 1 year ago, and I never thought we were gonna be partners. So this is very important, that whatever you guys are focused on, like just keep showing up, show up, and just put yourself out there, and always have that mentality. Like there's no scarcity, there's so many things. There's like I just attending to GrowthCon, I was like, oh my gosh, like there's no scarcity of investors, of deals. There's so much out there. We just need to put ourselves right there and raise our hand. I want to do this. Who can help me? How can I help you? This is what I can do you need my help? How can I connect you with somebody? So that's a little bit about my story. I don't know if you guys have any questions. Trevor, if you wanna any
Yeah,
other.
so the one thing is sort of just give a summary of where you are in your real estate career, because it's you've gone from, flipping some land to, some pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah, that's good. So actually, it was last year after GrowthCon when I decided, okay, I need to get it together, and I knew it was multifamily, so I was at 0 units. Today I'm at 880 units as a GP, and what I do is just raise capital for these deals, for massive capital. I do investor relations, and it's just like connecting with the right people who also has the mindset of growing and going to the next deal. And these guys are moving so quick, and it's massive moves per se, right? Because they believe on that, that's how they move, and that's one of the reasons why I got to with them, because I understood the way they think. So in 1 year, from to be at 0 units, not understanding underwriting, multifamily and all that, to be in 880 units, I mean, it's a blessing, and it's just for being in the right rooms. I connected to Mike through the 10X community, and being there and raising my hand and knocking on doors.
That's awesome. So I'd like to open it up for questions from the audience. I mean, hopefully you are. I mean, this is about the fourth time I've heard her story, and I still get goosebumps. But I'd like for some people. Oh, and also too, I want to talk about that you're, and I still think it's a funny name, the Massive Girls, because I'm never been attracted to massive girls before. But tell a little
It's
bit about
massive
what you're trying
capital
to do
girls.
there.
Okay, so it's massive capital girl society. It's not massive. It
Okay.
used to be. So yeah, I had that feedback. They were like, we don't really want to be massive girls. Okay, so yeah, this is just like so I'm building this massive capital girl society, and it's just to help women invest in real estate. So many women, they know they want to create generational wealth. They know the W2 job is not gonna take you out of the rat race. They understand that, but they don't know where to start, or they need help somehow. It's like we all are here, but we didn't come alone. Like somebody give us a hand. So that's part of what we are trying to do, just build that community of women, especially in an industry where it's like heavily men oriented. So help women, but also one of the things like I'm very passionate is just like always be working on every aspect of your life, personally, professionally, and spiritually. To me, everything needs to be aligned in order to excel to your highest potential. So that's part of what we're gonna do in this group. Like we want to create generational wealth, but we also want to help women build themselves on every single aspect and align to your mission, find your purpose. And women who are like sometimes spouses are in real estate but they are not, how can they support, how can they align to one purpose, have one common goal, at the end of the day. So that's part of the mission of Massive Capital Girl Society. And the
That's a
other thing,
much better name, by the way.
and the other thing, we're gonna create a fund. So I just want to have it like 100% funded by the woman, and create this generational wealth, and helping each other, supporting each other. I'm very I really believe that we need to support each other, not compete. It's always about collaboration, not competition. There's no scarcity, and if we want to do massive things and huge things and take down huge deals, we need others, and we need I mean, and this is not like a feminist group where it's just gonna, no, we don't need men. No, no, this is about like how can we align and how can we be ourselves, our best selves as women, so we can support men in our partnerships, in our household, in, you know, personally and professionally.
Yeah, and I think it's always good to create groups with peers, right? People that are like you and people that want to get together and get connected. I know there's a couple of people on this call that I hoped would join because I wanted to, you know, I've been talking to them and wanted to have them be inspired. So I made sure I reached out personally. I don't want to put them on the spot to ask some questions, but I think a few of you ladies might know who you are. I told you come and be inspired. Do you have any questions? Because I know a lot of you have asked me about how do you get to the next level?
Did
Oh,
I miss where you covered why you did it, why you paid for the diamond ticket? Jasmine, sorry, I have loud kids in the house. I'm trying to tell them to be quiet. I want to hear that story. What made you
yeah,
invest in that? I know the value, but let's hear it.
that's I almost forget about that. So I just I'm in Vegas. I attended to GrowthCon, and these diamond tickets are very expensive. I paid 7,500 for this ticket, and so many people told me like, "Are you crazy?" One of the reasons what I did it is, first of all, if I don't invest in myself, nobody's gonna invest in myself. You know, if you don't treat yourself like you deserve it, nobody's gonna do it for you. So we need to start like with ourselves. How do you think you deserve that ticket? Do you think you can make connections? Do you think you can get, like, if you invest 7,000 today, 8,000, you think you can turn that into 700, 7 million? And most of the time is like self-doubt. Do I really want to spend that money? Like, it's not like I have money to blow, but I just believe in the power of proximity, of sitting in those seats, and just like people reaching out to me now, like, want to talk to me about multifamily and what are you doing, and just the power of being there with the right people. You know, it's just about being in the right rooms with the right people. I mean, there's tons of events that we attend and all of us do, but Grand Cardone attracts very, very great people, and just being there in that room and being able to talk, I was like blown away. You know, in these launch meetings that we had and these after parties, like the conversations that these people have. And of course, you know, sometimes I feel like kind of like insecure, like, oh, you know, this guy's talking about millions and billions, and I'm just, you know, a small girl here, you know, barely starting. And just like or like being genuinely learning about them, and I want to learn from them, and how do you do it, and just like being interested on their conversation. And they end up talking to me, and it's like, tell me more about your multifamily, how are you doing that? So it's just like, okay, it pay every time that I go to any event, not just this one with Gran Caron, but all the events that I go, like, it pays off with a relationship or with something that I learn, you know. They throw some nuggets out there that is like, oh my gosh, it hit me. You know, one of the things that yesterday, one of the speakers said, he said, my parents came to this country for a better life. If I'm just here partying and slacking, what was the purpose of them doing this? And that hit me because I'm an immigrant. I just share my story, and I'm like, my dad sacrificed his businesses to be here, and I need to make it count. I need to make it count for him, for my family, and for my whole community, for my whole ethnicity. I need to tell them like it is possible. If I did it, you can do it. And that's probably one of the things that I want to leave you with. If I did it, you guys can do it. Like, somebody needs the gifts that you guys have. Like, we all have different gifts. We just need to put them out there because somebody needs them. So if I was able to do it and break through all these barriers, you guys can do it for sure. You know, the sky is the limit, especially in America, the sky is the limit.
I'm gonna share there. Look at that picture. There she is. Doesn't get much closer than that.
I, I have a collection now. It's like I have like 6 pictures with Grant and Ellen and all of them, you know. So yeah.
So, any other questions? Please, please.
I don't have a question. I have a comment. I thank you so much, Jasmine, for sharing your story. Like you, I'm an immigrant, relatively brand new at this point to real estate. And I'm also a huge believer in investing in oneself. I've been pursuing multifamily for the past, I would say 3 to 4 months, actively. And I gained clarity, recently, because I realized that I had gotten to, I could only do so much, by myself. And I recently, joined a mentorship. And so, yeah, I'm happy to see how that turns out and how that unfolds. So, and I'm part of the Massive Capital Girls too. So.
Yeah, let's go. That's one of the things, you know, I quickly understood. So I need to work on things that nobody can take away from me. Because, like, being an immigrant, Mr. President can tell me today, oh, you know what? We don't want you here anymore. So you need to go back. But the skill sets that I've been, you know, developing for the last 10 years, the connections that I have made, the investments that I have made in the last 10 years, nobody's going to take away that from me. You know, I can go anywhere and nobody's taking that away from me. You know, if you jobs and those things are temporarily, you know, we can lose them anytime. Jobs and money, and you know, those things are here temporarily. So investing in things that nobody can take away from you is just like one of the best things that I can I can think of, you know, investing in yourself, in skills.
Another question for you, Jasmine. So as we all know, this journey can be super stressful, tedious, the whole 9 yards, though it is very rewarding. How do you take care of your physical, your mental, and your spiritual?
So I'm gonna start with spiritual life. My spiritual life is the most important thing. Like I can sacrifice that for anything. I can go. I can have million things to do and deals but my spiritual life, I don't sacrifice it for anything, and that's my way to stay strong and have faith and understand. Like there's so many things that I can control, so I'm just gonna do what I have in my hands. I'm gonna do my best and let God do the rest. So that's, you know, that's the main thing. Like one of my purpose I feel in life is to, at the end of my life, I know people is not gonna be like, how many units Jasmine had when she died, or you know, what was her net worth, or how many events did she attend. Nobody's gonna say that. But what I want to be remembered for is like Jasmine was an example that when you put God first, everything aligns and there's no barriers. The world can tell you, oh, if you don't have certain net worth, if you don't have this skill set, if you don't have an MBA, if you don't have this and that, you can do it. But God says, like, screw that. You know, if you're with God, he's gonna open every single door that is for you. So that's what I always keep my faith as God as the center of my life and my family. You know, once you, I feel like I went through the worst, you know, having my dad kidnapped for 1.5 months, crying every single day and knowing that he may not come back. Every time that I have the time to opportunity to spend with my family, I'm just, you know, enjoying their talks and just try to be present. I understand that we are here today, but we don't know. We don't know when it's gonna be our last day. And the moment that you think the less, like anything can happen, you know. So that's why I like every time I try to be very present with my family my spiritual life. And one of the things that they say this weekend is like, don't lose what you have in the moment chasing the next big thing, chasing the next deal, the next units, the next whatever. We need to be grateful for what we have and appreciate what we have today. Does that answer your question, Brooke? I feel like I went.
It did. It helped your spiritual question, which I appreciate that. But also like your physical and your mental. And I do love that quote, because I wrote that quote down as well. The don't give up what you already have, chasing what you want. I think that's fabulous. But I'm in a health and fitness nut. And I know you go lift weights, and I see you at the gym too. So what I want people to realize too is that you also take care of your physical. You're at the gym, your mental, the whole 9 yards. So it's a holistic approach to take on the world, right? So
yeah, and it goes back. I mean, I feel like everything is aligned. That's what I was telling you at the beginning. I really believe that personally, professionally, and spiritual life is aligned. So I always go back to the same thing. Like, there's so many things in our life, in our day, that go wrong, that we don't win all the time, and we just need to control the things that we have the power to control. Going to the gym sometimes is the only thing that I can win the whole day. Getting my workout done, that's the biggest achievement in the whole day, because everything goes out. But just always winning, something. And there's so many things that you can control, so at least let me just work out. I went through a part in my life when I definitely didn't have clarity on what's gonna happen with me, my life. Am I gonna go back? My personal life, my professional life, what's next. But I was like, I'm just gonna hit the gym, because this is the only thing that I can do at this point. And building that muscle of not just doing the things that you feel like doing. I don't feel like working out today. Of course, I'm in Vegas, I just want to go out and explore the city. But it's like, I don't. One of the things that I seen everybody is like, the most successful people don't execute based on how they feel, but they execute on their goals, on how, the achievements. And just winning every day is part of it. Go, like, you don't really ask yourself, do I want to work out? Of course I don't. I want to stay in bed all day, but I have to do it. I need to win somehow. I need to get it for myself. Nobody's gonna do it for you, so you are in control of your life.
That's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Want to make sure that I give everybody a chance to ask. You're such a quiet group tonight.
Hey, Trevor.
Hey there. Good to see you.
How you doing? Yeah, it's good to see you guys.
Glad you joined.
Yes, I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I wanted to say thank you for, for her story, and just even the inspiration. Like you said, you got to just do what's best for yourself with your health. I'm actually going to put out some content on that, mental and physical health shortly. But, just keeping focus on maintaining your health, even above multifamily, everything that we're trying to do, all the successes that we're trying to achieve in multifamily, the most important is health and putting that first. So I just wanted to say thank you for that inspiration. I thought that was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, health is the real wealth. We can
That's
have,
right.
we can have as many units, your network, billions.
Exactly.
If we don't have health, we can,
exactly.
we can do it. So yeah,
that's right. Thank you, Jasmine.
My pleasure.
Anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, we'll do a breakout room. Going once, going twice.
You gotta put yourself out there, baby. You never know.
What's that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.